welcome to Tech Talks again, and today I have Deji of Gokada, and Gokada is the Uber of Okada. So, but I have Deji here to tell me more about it. So, Deji, what's Gokada about?
Thank you, Uzoma, for having me here. So, Gokada is an on-demand motorcycle hailing service. We are aimed at empowering millions of Nigerians on our platform, one ride at a time. And for the customers, we aim to move them freely across Lagos without hindrance of traffic.
So, tell me. So how did this story? What's the story about Gokada? How did it come about?
Well, it's been coming for a long time, but for me, it's basically two problems that we're trying to solve, right? And that's why this came about. One is the story of unemployment, which is a huge problem, and then the other is transport. So I'll start with unemployment. As you know,
where's money inside this problem? I mean, I don't see a social.
Well, it's not really about the money.
Okay.
It's really about the problem we're trying to solve.
Okay.
So
what were you doing before this? I mean, what's your
background?
Background, yes.
Okay. I was a banker for a few years.
Okay.
And so if I were to start from my banking days, I was a banker for a few years, working in the corporate sector. But at that point, I knew I wanted to do more. I wanted to create something.
Okay.
But at the time, I didn't have the knowledge to transition from banking to the startup world. So I sought a business school education where I would learn the tenets of entrepreneurship. So I did that for a year. I went to one of the business schools in Spain to learn how to build businesses. And then I came back to Nigeria, joined Jumia for a year and a few months. And then after I had gotten that experience, I felt it was time to build something out of scratch. And then that was how Gokada was born. And we started off to solve two major problems, as I mentioned earlier. One was the unemployment issue that we've been having in the country. As you know, for the past couple of years, consecutively, on a quarter-by-quarter basis, the unemployment rate has been skyrocketing. So we are looking to bring that down with empowerment of drivers on our platform. The other issue that we're trying to solve is transportation. While we have several forms of transport in Lagos, they are not so effective for the growing population in the state. Lagos has a very small landmass. However, the population in that small landmass is very huge. So the population density makes congestion, the order of the day. But bikes, are the most functional form of transport because you could move from point A to point B without having to be stuck in traffic. So that's why we're in business.
Okay, so how many bikes do you have? How many people have signed up to your platform? How well are you doing? What are the challenges? Okay,
so how well I think in the last few months we've gotten very good traction.
Okay. So how old is Gokada, by the way?
Roughly 8 months.
Okay. So
we started this year.
Okay, fantastic.
So in terms of traction, we've been doing relatively good. In terms of bikes, we have a little over 300 bikes. Right. Not so many around the Oniru area, but we have most of them on the mainland.
Okay, which makes sense.
Yes, because of the dynamics of how people in Lagos move, right? So more people coming from there to the island. And in terms of rides, we do thousands of rides on a daily basis.
So let me ask you, so I thought bikes were banned, or you have to have certain, what are the requirements for you to legitimately use motorcycles as means of transport or courier?
So our motorcycles are 200cc and above.
Okay.
So that's the required engine capacity to have. The traditional ones you have on the road are under 200cc. Okay. So because we've met that requirement and surpassed it, we are able to legitimately operate the business.
So tell me, do you acquire your bikes, or so what's the business? So what's the model? How are you going to grow from 300 bikes? Because I'm feeling for it to be successful, I mean, it's the platform, but you need to have as many bikes as possible so that people know that they can just step out of their house or wherever they are and they can get a bike.
You're very correct. It's actually a supply game, right? Right now, the bikes are financed on behalf of the drivers, right? We have taken the burden to do that finance, primarily because of the cost of financing here in the country. However, in order to scale where you have thousands of bikes, at some point we would have to split the supply side where we have partners who are willing to put in capital to fund the supply of bikes. And that's because, unlike the traditional ride-hailing firms, the supply of cars is readily available. However, in this case, you don't have people who already own bikes. So we have to create the supply. Right. So we aim to open a new market where people see the value of buying bikes, and putting it on our platform.
Let me ask you, this logistics business can be very complex because one, it's a question of trust as well. So you finance the bikes, you have to get the riders. You have to ensure that the riders are fit and proper from a expertise perspective. Then there's a trust perspective that the windows. How do you ensure that the bikes don't end up in Cotonou, for example? How do you ensure that this? And how do you, in terms of payment is through the app, so at least that ensures that there's no diversion or anything.
So one thing, we are not doing logistics; it's just transportation. In terms of building trust, that was one of the fundamental issues we wanted to resolve because of the negative associations that have plagued Okadas in time past. That's why the drivers on our platform come through us and us alone. So we have a very strict onboarding process as to how drivers can get on our bikes. So it's like a 5-tiered process. We have drivers coming from different channels. It could be walk-ins, it could be online, offline, but they go through several tests, psychometric tests, oral tests, written tests. They go through background checks, they have contracts, we have insurance policies for them. So once a driver is able to go through all those processes, even a riding test, we are able to certify that this driver, is good enough to ride our bike and good enough to wear our brand.
So I downloaded the app, but unfortunately there were no rides about 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. So I couldn't.
What time?
1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock in the morning. So I couldn't go through the process. So if there was a cab, do I see the rider's face or his name or the number of it, or just like you see in the other Hill app?
Right now we have what we call Gokada Lite. It's a light version of the app that we used to have. So when you download the app and you open it, you will see the driver's name, the plate number, and then you will see a call button. That call button is just for you to directly call the driver and not have to go through any process of requesting ride. It's basically to strip out the internet dependency, and give you an app that is light on data. Right? That's what we have now. Anywhere we.
2 questions. One, how have we funded this, and how are you going to continue funding this? That's one. And then I think marketing and awareness is very key, which is of course also can be financially demanding. How do you intend to marry this thing of growing the supply of motor vehicles, creating awareness and managing something?
So I'll start with
finance person.
I'll start with the financing end, and then I'll move on to the marketing end. For financing, we started off with equity funds. We were able to raise some funds to start the business, and we used those funds to buy the first set of bikes. Now, moving on to the marketing end, what we decided to do was to brand our bikes. We felt that was the major marketing we needed to do. Right, that's advertising in itself. So we branded all our bikes. We had about 100 bikes right off the bat, and then we launched in the Unilag area, where you have Unilag, FC, and Yabatek. So you have a concentration of students. So we launched there for like a few months, and the marketing went viral because across students, we were able to go in there, offer them rides at discounted prices, and basically just blow up our brand, and then we leverage on that growth, to where we are today. And I say quite a number of people have seen Gokada or have heard of Gokada. I see normal Okadas now painting their bikes green.
Right? Green.
Because they have seen that customers tend to go with green bikes because the color now sends a message of trust, when it comes to motorcycles.
Excellent. So what's from the gender perspective? Is it number of men, what's the balance?
For customers, 70-30. Men 70, men 30. For drivers, 100-0. But we're looking to get female drivers on board.
So in last question. So a year from now, what do you expect? have achieved?
So we have different metrics that we use to measure success. For one, in terms of the number of bikes we have, a year from now, we are looking to have about 5,000 bikes at the minimum across different parts of Lagos, even at Oniro as well. Okay. So when you come out at any time, you should see a green and black bike within 5 minutes, right? That's when we can say we are offering transportation across Lagos. So that's on the number of bikes. In terms of the services we offer, we are also looking to leverage on that asset to offer various on-demand services to the Nigerian consumer. So be it rides, transportation, be it logistics, and any other service that anyone would want to use. Because we have the assets on ground, we have the drivers, we are able to offer last mile services basically. So in a year's time, that's what you should expect.
That's excellent. So thank you. If I can, I'm actually going to take a ride on one of those
You
things.
should.
I'm going to take a ride on one of those things. Maybe when I move out of Oniro, but
because our major customer segments, are the working class population.
Fantastic. Okay, Deji, good luck, and we'll continue the conversation offline.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.